The Thunder have found their secret weapon for the NBA Finals, and it isn't what you think it is. It isn't a single player, it isn't Coach Mark, it isn't Rumble the Bison, but a painted line on the court. We're going to go over why the 3-point line and dictating it is going to be the X factor of this NBA Finals for the Oklahoma City Thunder. But before we get deep into that, I just want to say real quick that 68 days ago, the Thunder set a franchise record with their 61st win over the Memphis Grizzlies on March 27th. 68% of you guys watching this are not subscribed to the channel. We're here to bring you amazing Thunder content in the midst of a finals run, a chance at the first championship in franchise history. You don't want to miss none of the news, updates, anything we got going on. So make sure you subscribe to that channel. We're also trying to hit 5K. But enough of that, all that boring stuff. We're going to get into the 3-point line and why it's going to play a big, important role in the NBA Finals. So let's get down into it. Looking first, we see the Oklahoma City Thunder are set to take on the Indiana Pacers, with both teams having a crack at getting their first ring in franchise history. So, monumentally successful seasons for both teams, regardless of how this finishes. But taking a look at the paths that each team took to get here, our near and dear Oklahoma City Thunder took on the Memphis Grizzlies in the first round to the tune of a sweep before moving on to a hard fought 7 game series against the Denver Nuggets that we pulled out in the end. Then we took on the Minnesota Timberwolves and Anthony Edwards in a 5 game series and effectively shut that down with a huge blowout statement game in game 5. And then we were kind of waiting on our opponent to pull through. And that's where the Indiana Pacers came to the stage, right? They came up, they beat their first two opponents in a series of 5. They beat the Cavs and they beat the Bucks in 5 games each to reach the Eastern Conference Finals against the Knicks. Against the Knicks, they took them to 6 games where they completed the job en route to their first finals appearance in franchise history. So, congratulations to the Pacers, but hate to break it to you, your road ends here. We are here to dominate and we are here to claim this championship. And how exactly are we going to do that? When we look at the key factor in this series, the more I look into it, guys, the more it comes down to the 3-point line and shooting. When we take a look at these two teams, they are coming in on opposite ends of the spectrum in this. I cannot stress this enough. Take a look at these playoff numbers, right? This is from this playoff run, and you see the Pacers at the top at number one, shooting over 40% from three this postseason. And you see at the number two, Oklahoma City at 33.6%. Now, this is just the rankings for the teams in the NBA Finals. Looking at the whole playoff picture, Oklahoma City is 13th out of the 16 qualifying teams in shooting the basketball from 3-point land this postseason. We are one of the bottom teams. We have been cold from 3-point, and yet we found our way here. So when you look at a team like the Pacers, who have relied on really hitting those threes at a very effective clip, we have to slow them down. And on the same token, we really have to come in and pick up our 3-point shooting to widen the gap and just get this job done. 33.6% is not going to cut it any longer. This team needs to pick it up. How are we going to do this? Let's take a look. Now, these two teams, guarding the 3-point is very important for both of these teams defensively. Oklahoma City is the best defense in the league, and they have forced the worst 3-point shooting percentage in the league. Our opponents hit three-pointer at a 34.1% clip, and that is the best 3-point defense that the NBA has in 2024-25 season. However, Indiana, a team not known for defense, a team that is known for putting points on the board and just trying to outscore you. They're a Showtime-esque type of team, run the floor, run the break type of team. But yet they still, for the entire 24-25 season, held their opponents from the 3-point line. They held them in check to the tune of 35.2% from three. They do guard the 3-point line, and then they try to beat you from it. That's what the Pacers have been doing, and that's how they have made it this far. Now, let's take a look deeper into the fact that the shot selection that these teams allow. The Thunder are a very unique case. Very unique case when we look at the fact that this team is allowing teams to shoot threes 45% of the time down the floor. And this, when you look at the teams around them, is not a winning formula. You see teams like Charlotte, Utah, New Orleans, Philadelphia, bottom feeders in the league this year, were also allowing a high frequent volume of 3-pointers. However, Oklahoma City has allowed more 3-pointers more frequently than these teams, and they have one of the best defenses since in the 2020 decade. It's such an anomaly for us because we're forcing these teams to settle for these jump shots. We're able to get hands up, close out on rotations, And that's what we've been doing all playoffs long against people like Michael Porter Jr. to make them struggle, that usually shoot well from the field, that have struggled mightily against us. Anthony Edwards even shot almost 40% from three this regular season, and he struggled mightily shooting the ball, getting looks due to the closeout nature of this team. This team forces bad three pointers, is what they do. And the Pacers have been shooting very effective three pointers. So this is going to be the secret X factor in this series. I cannot stress this enough. The more I look into this, the more convinced I am. Now we take a look at what has transpired when we have played this team so far in the regular season. Only a 2 game sample size against the Indiana Pacers we see, right? One of those was coming the day after Christmas Day, and it came to the tune of a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander 45-point outing and a 6-point win. Oklahoma City takes game one, 120 to 114. Then we play them a little bit later in the season, coming into the playoff stretch on March 29th. And OKC blows this one open a little bit more. 132 to 111 is the win. So we have captured 2 wins against this Pacers team, one in pretty convincing fashion, and one behind the backing of our star player. So this is looking pretty good coming into the series, but let's get down even farther, right? Our superstar, MVP, Western Conference Finals MVP, the driving force and the offensive engine, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He has flat out torn apart this team this year to the tune in these 2 games of 39 a game, 7 rebounds, 8 assists. But look at the efficiency while doing this. For a guy as efficient as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and that's one of his calling cards on offense, is his efficiency as a scorer. He's managed to even outdo himself in this, where he's shooting 56%. And what's that? 64% from the 3-point line. We're talking about the 3-point line needs to dictate this series and how it's going to go. We're talking about how OKC is coming in frigid, freezing cold from the 3-point line in these playoffs, still managed to make it this far. But Superstar has had his way from the 3-point line against this team. Like I said, 2 game sample size we're looking at. But this is very, very encouraging. We know how Shai's body of work, right? We're looking at the regular season where Shai averaged 32.7 a game, 5 rebounds, 6.5 assists, and then almost 3 stocks. But when we look at the percentage from three, that's like the only thing that stands out as not very elite for this position, right? We're seeing 37.5, which obviously is very good. He's an efficient shooter. He can hit the three ball. You don't want to give him any threes. But 37.5% isn't necessarily lethal from 3-point range, but 64% sure is. And that was what he was hitting against this team. He was getting quality looks, knocking them down. Furthermore, we're looking at Tyrese Halliburton, a guy who is sixth in the in threes made this playoffs. He only shot 36% from three. And he's only 44% from the field. So we're able to knock his efficiency down, get him off his rhythm a little bit. And furthermore, a guy who is pure point guard as they come in the league nowadays, I would argue he's the most pure point guard in basketball right now. Tyrese Halliburton, only 5.5 assists. So he was not able to really get his other guys going from the 3-point line as well. This needs to be noted in the facts of this series. Coming in, we really are looking at an advantage here. But how are we going to be able to take over the 3-point line? We are able to contain them from the 3-point line. Hopefully we're able to slow them down. We saw they're shooting 40% for this postseason run. Our perimeter defense, we have bodies to throw at them. We have Lou Dort, we have Shea, we got Cason, we got Caruso, we got Dub to cover a wing. We got bodies to throw at these guys to get them off their rhythm. But how are we going to get off that 33.5% from 3-point line? How are we going to find our rhythm? Right? We take a look at who has scored the basketball for this team when we played the Pacers, right? We talked about Shea scoring 39, obviously leading the way by a wide margin. We see J Dub here tuning in with 19 points. That's our number 2 option. That's our all star. That's our all NBA third team player. That's him putting in his work. Lou Dort is tuning in to 17 and a half a game, well over his average. But the guy who I want to hammer home is number 4. Isaiah Joe is the fourth and only the fourth player to crack 10 points or above against this team on average, right? And he is going to play a very, very, very important part in this series. Let's take a look at Isaiah Joe's body of work. Talking about a guy who averaged north of 10 points a game this season. He did average in the double digits. But when we're talking how he got these points, 44% from the field, 41% from three. That is a marksman right there. 40 once you're over 40%, you're getting into sniper range. But look on the right under his name at the body of work and the shot selection he's taking. Over half his shots are coming from the 3-point line, but it's well over half. We're talking about almost 80% of this guy's shots are threes. He's a volume 3-point shooter, and that is his game. And then furthermore, where are these shots coming from? Off the assist is what we're seeing to the tune of 91% of his threes are assisted. And then on top of that, this guy is lethal from the corner, shooting 55% on corner threes. Isaiah Joe is a shooter, and he needs to be one in this series. When we're talking secret weapon, this is the guy who will be the secret weapon if we're talking player wise this series. Isaiah Joe is the guy who's going to get it done. But let's take a look at what he's done in the playoffs so far, right? We're taking a look at a guy. These are his game logs from the Denver series and the Minnesota series. Streaky, streaky in this postseason. I cannot stress it enough. He's only taken 9 shots so far in these games that aren't threes. So almost his entire body of work is coming from behind the 3-point line. But when you look in the far right column, the only numbers you're seeing is 100%, 50%, and 0% from three, right? Let's go into a couple of these games. The first two on the list right off bat: 0 for 4 from three, 4 for 4 from three. This is the kind of bipolar shooting that he's given us so far this season that we need to get away from. He needs to be more consistent in this series. Isaiah Joe was signed to this team. He is a shooter. That was his purpose on this team, why we brought him in. He's got to shoot the ball effectively this series to be the X factor and to get us that advantage point from the 3-point line. Like we said, the Indiana Pacers, the hottest 3-point shooting team coming in. Us, pretty close to the bottom. So how do we flip the switch? Obviously, with our perimeter defense, we're going to be able to stick some guys and get them taking a little bit worse quality shots. We know that we like to force teams to shoot threes. We saw that earlier with our body of work, with 45% of the team's shots against us coming from the 3-point line. So they're going to get up a volume of looks. It's our job on defense to make it bad, but it's guys like Isaiah Joe's job on offense to make sure that we are hitting our shots and really turning the corner and gaining an advantage point from the 3-point line. That will be the secret weapon, the X factor of this series, the 3-point line. When we're taking a look at what he's done so far shooting against the Indiana Pacers, he's been efficient with it too when we saw his points per game. He's shooting 43% from 3-point line. We see Shai up there once again at 64. That's just still astounding to see. But Isaiah Joe has been 43% from three, and then furthermore, 53% from the field. So he's making his shots that aren't threes as well. He's being efficient with using his 3-point shot to create other shots for himself. This is going to be of vital, vital importance in this series. It will be the driving force. And if we can get this wrapped up done early and get the Pacers out of rhythm, or if they can drag us to 7, if they can drag us to 6 and really make this a dogfight to see which of these teams is going to bring in their first ring. I'm so, so excited to see Oklahoma City get their first crack at redemption since 2012 to get the championship ring whenever they were playing Braun in the Heat. But this has been Gabriel Ebersole with Thunder Digest, breaking down why this 3-point line is going to be the X factor in this series. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys are ready for the NBA Finals. I'll see you guys in the next one.